Thank you so much for being with us. I want to say thank you also to Supervisor Jennifer DeSena, who I see is here. We really appreciate you being here and your support on these important programs. So I'm Megan Festuca. I'm an environmental specialist for the town, and I manage all of our environmental sustainability programs. Joining me is Mindy Germain from EcoLeap. She's a consultant that assists the town with our climate action planning, and she's trying to get one of our speakers on right now, so I'll let her do that. So a couple of years ago, the town issued a community climate change survey, and 83% of our residents reported that they wanted to be a part of the solution, and many were interested in renewable energy and the incentives that come with them. So transitioning to renewable energy can be overwhelming because there's just so much information available out there. So tonight our aim is to simplify the process, bringing in a host of experts that some of you have already met and talked to, and offer a step-by-step approach to power our homes affordably as well as sustainably through energy efficiency measures, renewables, and monetary incentives that are available. So let me start sharing our screen so we can get started with the presentation. Okay. So this workshop is a part of the town's comprehensive climate action work to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and help our community adapt with the changing climate. And the town is proud to be a certified bronze climate smart community. We completed 28 actions that help to decrease energy and use and emissions from buildings and transportation, reducing waste, and incorporating natural solutions and resiliency measures. Mindy is going to put the town's climate action webpage link in the chat eventually so that you can follow our work and continue to get involved. With this workshop, we hope to further our goals by decreasing residential energy use and greenhouse gas emissions coming from homes, including those from our personal vehicles. So now I would like to introduce tonight's speakers and just give you a rundown of what they'll be covering. So hopefully we will have Brian Laughlin. He's the Associate Director of PSCG Long Island Energy Efficiency Residential Programs. We have Tara Bono McDermott, a solar industry leader representing the New York State Solar Industries Association. Beth Fitzhenny, who is the Outreach Coordinator for Drive Electric Long Island, and Hilter Palstadter, a community energy educator representing the Long Island Clean Energy Hub, which is a program of Cornell Cooperative Extension of Nassau County. And all of these experts are going to delve into getting started with free home energy audits, energy efficient appliances and lighting, renewable heating, solar programs, electric vehicles, state and federal rebates, incentives, and tax credits, and then the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Nassau's Community Energy Advisor Program. So before we get started, we want to introduce Neil Adler. He is going to help set the stage for tonight's program. He's a resident of the town, and he started his progression with his family to renewable energy, and will share some of his experiences. So thanks so much for joining us, Neil. It's great to have the perspective of someone who's going through the process of home energy efficiency and renewables. So take it away.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to talk with everyone. My wife and I moved to Port Washington around 6 years ago. One of our main goals in moving into the house was to live more sustainably. We saw it as an opportunity to be a part of the solution, as we were talking about before, when it comes to protecting the environment. 2 steps that we have taken so far anyway is that we've gotten solar panels and also have a plug-in hybrid car. So the 2 of them together making our sustainable system. The first step was really to find the solar company. We found a company who does the installations and an affiliate company who connects to the grid and manages our invoicing. There are two ways you can, well, there are probably multiple ways of going about it, but you can either lease the solar panels or you can outright buy the solar panels. So we chose to lease the panels, which means that we pay around $120 a month to use the hardware and connect to the grid that through our company. The next step we did was looking into electric cars. My wife and I didn't, want to get 100% electric for the first time. We decided to get the plug-in hybrid. It gives you 45 miles per, 45 miles of electric, and then switches over to hybrid gas. We also had a charger installed in our driveway, which was about $1,000. It's incredible how infrequently we get gas. The other day I went to the gas station and looked for the lever in order to get to put up the gas lid, and I couldn't find it. So the mileage is amazing, 40 miles per gallon. When you put it all together, when you're looking at the solar panels and the plug-in hybrid, for the first quarter of 2021 compared to 2022, we saved, well, let me put it this way. From April 1st, 2022 to April 1st, 2023, including the energy used by the electrical car and renting the panels, we saved approximately $150 a year in electricity using 82% of solar energy. Considering that we also save around $500 per year in gas, you're looking at a system save around $650 per year. So it's an investment to set it up, but we feel it's really worthwhile morally and even financially.
Great. Thank you so much, Neil. That was really helpful. And I forgot to say before that if anybody has any questions for any of our speakers throughout the presentation, please put them in the Q&A. We are not going to be monitoring the chat, so please put any questions that you have in the. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves in the chat, but the Q&A is where we're going to have to answer all the questions. So if you have questions for Neil and anybody else, please put those in the Q&A, and they'll be answered at the end of the presentations. So I don't think we have Brian yet, so I think we're going to move ahead probably.
Oh, Brian's here.
Oh, he's here.
Sorry, I am so sorry. I had the most. I don't know why. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. It was very.
But thank you. I sent it over to my other laptop and came right in. So
okay, well, you're just in time. So I am going to pass it off to you. You're going to be presenting on PSEG Long Island's energy efficiency programs. So whenever you're ready.
You bet. You bet.
Just tell me to advance the slides when you need to do that.
You got it. You can advance. And I just wanted to again say hello to everybody. My apologies for being late. I appreciate your patience. But what good information I think we're all receiving this evening. And I only want to add to that for the audience here. So very quickly, what I'll be discussing, my name is Brian Lachlan. I'm with PSEG Long Island. I manage the residential portfolio of energy efficiency programs. Within there's several. There is our energy efficient products program, which is Energy Star appliances and different fixtures that we rebate. There is the Residential Energy Affordability Partnership Program. That's our REAP program. That's a low-income audit program with the direct installation of LED lighting, Energy Star appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. Home Comfort. Home Comfort is exactly what it sounds like. It's rebates for heat pumps, ducted and ductless heat pumps, geothermal systems, smart thermostats, heat pump water heaters. In addition to that is our Home Comfort program. We strongly recommend a customer actually utilize both of these programs, and I'll go into that in a little deeper when we touch on those. But the Home Performance program is weatherization. It's insulation, air sealing, duct sealing. We want to tighten up what they say is the envelope of the home, right? And last but not least, on the next slide, is the all-electric homes program. That's really that's the granddaddy of them all, as I say. That really takes into account many features of all the other programs combined. And what we do is we're able to bundle the rebates and put a little extra incentive on top for the homeowner for making a decision for going all electric. Next slide. So again, we'll take it from the top. Our products program. Some folks on this call may have already participated in the program. Some may have at least seen signage and promotion of the program. Essentially, what this is promoting Energy Star products through either in retail space, or PSEG Long Island has an online marketplace in which we work with a vendor that provides different different items in which we provide rebates for. And customers, when they're in the stores, they'll see certain signage and tear pads and QR codes that will help explain what the rebate is and take you to the website so you can submit some information. Next slide. Some of the products that in our products program that we provide rebates for are smart thermostats. So that's both connected and learning. Learning, exactly what it sounds like. It learns your behavior. So it actually has algorithms and some computations inside of it, in which it learns, the movement in the house and when you seem to be adjusting the temperature, and it will learn those habits to make it even more effective or cost efficient for you. We also provide rebates for advanced power strips, which is what you see, the white item which you see on the side. So you'd plug things in like television or an electronic device, a printer, a computer maybe, right? And when it doesn't detect motion in the room, it shuts off. And that's how that saves you money, saves you energy. Next slide. Thanks. This one's pretty quick. Again, Energy Star. We want to certainly make sure that that your home is also comfortable. In order to achieve comfort, items such as dehumidifiers and air purifiers are very good appliances in which to achieve a little more comfort inside the home, and certainly air quality conditions as well. Next slide. Energy efficient products also provides rebates for electrical resistance dryers, most efficient dryers, which are heat pump dryers. Okay, and we'll talk about that technology here in a minute, as well as heat pump water heaters. You'll see these items in the stores as well, and again, some of these items you may find are going to be, when compared to a non-Energy Star item, you may find them to be a little more expensive, but in the long run, over the lifetime of this unit and the operation of it, the cost to operate it will be less. So the payback, there is a payback on these as well. So it's certainly worth considering. Next slide. If any of us have pools, if any of us have pools, we're certainly able to utilize this heat pump pool heater technology to heat the pools, as opposed to using fossil fuel, natural gas, or propane to heat the pool. So now we're looking to use an electric heat pump pool heater, and as of just last week, it tripped over from $600,000 to $1,000 per unit. Next slide. And I think this is probably the last slide on this products program. And this is simply to say, I mentioned earlier, we have a marketplace, an online marketplace, and we currently have a promotion going on right now from April 3rd to April 30th. If you go to the PSEG Long Island website, you'll see that there is that we're promoting smart thermostats, as well as an air purifier, and it can be bundled with an advanced power strip for free. All you have to do is go to the PSEG LINY website, look for the marketplace, and you'll see this promotion. You may have also received some announcements. We send them out periodically throughout the month. Next slide. Thank you. Okay, so this is another program now. So this is the REAP program, Residential Energy Affordability Partnership. This is an income qualifying program based on the amount of folks in the household, how much the monthly or annual income is. They include all revenue sources. So if it's 2 people or 3 folks that have an income that are coming in, that's taken into consideration in order to qualify for this. Next slide. You'll see once every 5 years you can participate in this. I love this program. I love this program. Here's why. Because number one, when when you say free, well, what does that mean? Nothing out of pocket, 0 out of pocket. Okay, well, what comes with that? Well, one is you get a free audit of your home. We establish a baseline in the home, and we see what recommendations, what inefficiencies, deficiencies are in the home, any kind of air quality issues, comfort issues, and then we're able to address that during that first visit by doing some direct install of LED lighting, low flow devices, advanced power strip, night lights. Okay. Then, while the auditor is there during that first visit, he'll test the appliances, refrigerator, 2-room air conditioners, window air conditioners, dehumidifier, air purifier. Okay. And it has to meet certain specs. How old is it? Is it Energy Star? Is it not Energy Star? And those appliances, all of those appliances can be replaced, ordered and replaced free of charge for the customer. Then on top of that, you can go to the next slide. Then on top of that, oh, I'm sorry, we'll go back one. Thank you. And we'll and part of that second visit now. All right, so they've done the first visit, they've done the audit, they've looked at the appliances are ordered. Then they come back for a second visit. During that second visit, a customer can receive 1, 2, 3 smart thermostats that have an app that can be controlled, remotely, as well as learn the behavior of the folks in their home. And it depends on how many receive. It depends on how many have in the house. 1, 2, 3 zones. That is also the product is what the thermostat, as well as the installation, is free. On top of that, just this month in April, we started providing weatherization for customers who qualify for REAP, insulation, air sealing, duct sealing. And then on top of all of that, now that's all free. Then on top of that, we're going to give you a $50 bill credit for going through the program. And all you have to do is go through that first audit. That's all you have to do, and get a $50 bill credit applied to your account. So I can't say enough about this program. Friends, family network, please share this message. Okay, because like I said, even if the customer doesn't want to go any further, they just want the first audit, we got a $50 bill credit for them just for doing that with us. So, and we'll do about 2,000 to 3,000 of these appointments a year. This program's been in place, I think, since '99, early 2000s. So, here we are in 2024. And we've helped a lot of folks on Long Island, and we're continuing to offer more services through this program. So please, if there's anybody out there, or we'd love to be able to speak with them and deliver some assistance. Next slide. This is our home comfort program. So again, when you say home comfort, you're thinking heat pumps. Heat pumps. I'm heating and cooling my home. I'm heating and cooling my home with electric, not with fossil. I'm not using natural gas. I'm not using oil or propane to heat and cool my home. We want to use these heat pumps, whether they're ducted or ductless. Okay. And this heat pump technology can be used for heat pump water heaters as well, for your domestic hot water. Next slide. Here's some rebates. Sorry, I just need to, here's some rebates. There's really 2 types of rebates in home comfort. There's market rate, and then there's income eligible rebates that are available. You'll see for market rate, there's a maximum of $5,000. If you add that up, you'll get $5,000. Then for income eligible, maximum rebate there for heat pumps, I believe, is $11,000 when you add that up. Along with this program as well, we provide rebates for smart thermostats, or these dual fuel integrated controls, these freeze stats, and I'll just touch on that quickly. So what is that? Let's say in your home right now, you have oil, you have gas to heat your home, right? And but you love this heat pump technology, you believe in it like we do, and you want to be able to be greener. You want to have less of a carbon footprint, but you want to be able to heat and cool your home without using fossil fuel. That's where these heat pumps come in. A heat pump will heat and cool your home using electric, not fossil fuel. And in that case, if you have an existing fossil fuel system in place already, we put something in called a dual fuel or an integrated control or a smart thermostat in some cases, in which that is a middle device between the heat pumps and the existing fossil fuel. And it says, hey, make sure that my heat pump is my primary until it gets to a certain degree, a certain set point or temperature outside, and then kick on the existing heating system as a backup. Okay, so you don't have to remove your existing system. Next slide. Cool, thank you. This is pretty quick. Heat pump water heaters, like I said, domestic hot water. We offer $1,000 rebate for the installation of a qualifying heat pump water heater, and there's even I believe it's either $100 or $250 installation incentive on top of that for the electrician or the plumber as well. Okay, so that's important to know. We also provide rebates for tune-ups. That's okay. That was a good slide. That was perfect. We have tune-ups, $40 and $60. What's a tune-up? Exactly what you would think with your car. They're going to take a look at your system, the condenser on the outside and the air handler upstairs. The condenser on the outside, they're going to clean those coils, the copper coils that go around. They're going to clean them. They're going to get dirt and debris and sticks and leaves and everything out of there so that that unit on the outside can run as efficiently, as effectively as possible. They're going to go upstairs. They're going to replace the air filters. They're going to make sure that that Porsche, right? They're going to make sure that high-end heat pump or central air system is at least running it at peak capacity. It has the right charge. It's got a clean filter, and it's got a fair chance, right? That's really what we want to do there. Next slide. Again, different from REAP. Home Comfort has an income eligibility guidelines, and you have to work with a participating partner in this case. Okay, with our Home Comfort program, you have to work with a participating contractor, and they will work with the customer to put them through the income determination process. We use a third party, a group called Slipstream or EFS. Energy Finance Solutions, and they perform an income determination service, and they'll let us know if the customer's qualified for the higher rebates. Next slide. Okay, now here's what I recommend to anybody. Okay, the first step into any of these programs really should be, in my recommendation, really should be this home energy assessment. Why? Because the home energy assessment, it's an audit on the home. It establishes a baseline for the home. What is going on inside and outside around the home? Underneath, downstairs, the mechanical systems, the insulation, the holes, the air exchanges in the home, right? They run something called a blower door, where they put the home in wintertime condition, they say. They shut all the doors and windows to the outside. And they only have, in many cases, they'll use the front door to the home. It's normally the bigger door. And they will put a device, it's kind of like canvas that's up in the door with a big fan in it. Okay. And then they extract air from the home. They run this huge fan, and they put it, what it's called is they put the house under negative pressure. And when they do that, and you walk around to the light plates and the switches and the hi-hats up on the ceiling, okay, you can feel a draft. And then they know, hey, I have to air seal that. I have to make that tighter. You look under the kitchen sink and you'll see, hey, I have a 2-inch pipe coming out of a 4-inch hole that goes right down to my basement. That's where the air is coming up. It's coming up from the unconditioned space, maybe from the basement that's not finished, or the attic. Okay. And what we want to do is we want to kind of control that, kind of slow that down, stop that. And then your home will hold its temperature longer. Holds its temperature longer, then that unit on the outside doesn't kick on as much. When that doesn't kick on as much, you're going to love your bill. Okay, so that's the idea there. And that's why I say, let's start off with a home energy assessment. It's free of charge. Okay, now you get two HEAs per residential account. And afterwards, even if you do nothing, you get a thank you kit with an advanced power strip in there for participating. And if anybody's interested, you can go right to that to the link there, and it takes you right to the portal to sign up. Again, there's no charge. We have about 25 contractors that work in that program. I'm sorry, next slide. Thank you. You'll see here now. So once you've gone through the audit and you've had a home energy assessment, the contractor's going to leave recommendations, scope of work on what improvements can be done to the home, and what, and costs and rebates that you'd be eligible for. In this case, similar to the home comfort program, we have two levels. We have a market rate, and then we have an LMI, low to moderate income. Okay. There's a little caveat with this, because there's also sections on Long Island that have been identified by the state of New York that are called disadvantaged communities, DAC. Okay. They're already defined. If you look on a map, and there's a map that NYSERDA provides, and I can certainly provide the link to anybody, during or after our call, and you can see where New York State has determined, not just on Long Island, but throughout the state, where these disadvantaged communities are. Okay. If you happen to live within a disadvantaged community, you can see that there is additional rebate dollars available to you. Okay. And that's what that market and disadvantaged community rebate is. And if you market, it's 500, let's say, for installation. And if you're in a disadvantaged community, it's 650. If you're low to moderate income, and again, you go through this process, we work with a third party, they determine your income, they provide an income determination, and if you qualify as income eligible, then the rebates, you can see, go up quite a bit for insulation, air sealing, duct sealing, and windows in our Home Performance with Energy Star program. It's a bigger project in the home, deeper energy savings, more work's being done. Insulation in the attic, air sealing, any penetrations from the inside to the outside. If you think of the home as maybe a piece of Swiss cheese, I want to plug up most of those holes. Not all of them. We don't want to live in a tomb, right? We want some fresh air, but I don't want so much fresh air that my heat pump can't keep up with it and it's constantly kicking on, right? So we want to control that. And okay, and then next slide. Thank you. Last slide, my friends, last slide. Thank you for hanging in there. So again, this is the All Electric Homes program. What is this? This is a culmination of all the programs. This is having to heat and cool the home now with electric, right? We have no fossil fuel on site. They've made two accommodations: propane for cooking, for the stove. We were getting it was tough to have folks who wanted that gas stove and say, no, it's got to be all electric. So we got an allowance there, and we also got an allowance here for the backup generator connection as well. Like those Generacs that can have a natural gas connection to it, but then that's it. Everything else has to be electric. So what is that? My lighting, smart controls, right? So we want smart thermostats in there, LED lighting, heat pump water heaters, heat pumps, whether ducted or ductless or geothermal system, will qualify there as well. And because we can bundle these rebates all together, we can then put an incentive on top of that. Two tiers, a 10% kicker and a 25% kicker on top of that. Okay. And you can see that there's some other items as well, air purifiers and solar covers and whatnot. And again, this kind of takes the best of all the program and puts them together. So that's my story. I saw some bubbles popping up. How did you want to handle, Megan? Did you want me to, or you want to wait till the end?
We're gonna wait till the end, so if you have any questions, I think there's already a few for you in there, and then if
Cool.
throughout the presentation, if you think anyone thinks of any more, they can always put them in the Q&A. But thank you, Brian, that was really great. I'm sure there's a lot of information in there that people aren't even aware of, so very helpful.
Thank
So
you.
now we're gonna go to Tara, who's going to discuss home solar on Long Island.
Great. Good evening, everyone. Tara McDermott here. I'm the Director of Customer Experience and Stakeholder Relations at Empower Solar, and I've been on the board of the Long Island Solar and Storage Alliance for the last 7 years. So today I'm representing them and also NYSEA, which is our statewide industry organization representing a few dozen solar companies and related partners as well. So I just want to thank the supervisor and Megan for putting this together. We worked together many years, I think 10 years since we did the North Hempstead program last. So excited to be back. Before I do start, I wanted to say that personally, as a ratepayer for PSEG, I've participated in many of the programs that Brian has mentioned. I got the geothermal rebate, I got the solar hot water rebate. When it was time to go out and purchase a dehumidifier or a dryer, I made sure I'd pick the ones that were on the list that got the rebates. We did the smart thermostat. So just wanted to make sure that people know that these programs are out there, they're real, and you can get actual checks back from PSEG. It's nice to get a check from them once in a while instead of always paying your utility bill. So anyway, we're going to jumpstart right here to Solar 101. Talk about the different ways that you can go solar, the incentives that are available to you when you go solar, just some general Q&A that we get. Typically, we're going to talk about the new time of day rates that are coming out and some other ways that you can electrify your life other than just using solar. Next slide. So about our industry association, we are a statewide organization. Most of our companies are solar companies, but we also have some financing companies and related industry partners as well. We focus on solar and storage across Long Island and New York State. So a little bit about solar. I know a few people on this call already have solar panels. Neil and some of our Empower Solar clients are here as well. So great to see all of you. Solar panels, they're pretty simple. They sit up there, they collect sunlight. The microinverters are the technology that convert the sunlight from DC to AC. A lot of our clients now have backup batteries, so that will be part of the system as well. And then you have your net meter. So all meters, the smart meters now are able to be net meters. So if you're sending energy out to the grid, it measures energy out and it measures energy in. So at the end of the month, PSEG will reconcile and say, all right, so for this month, your solar panels, produce an extra, 200 kilowatt hours over and above what your home use. And that's the amount of energy that we're going to give you towards your next bill. And then you can roll it over month to month. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So right now, surprisingly, we're up to 1 out of every 9 or 10 homes on Long Island have solar panels, which is amazing. Obviously, there are different pockets. A lot of neighbors go solar together, whether it's a solarized program or one person does it and refers a friend, and that person refers a friend. So we do see certain pockets. Some areas are better than others, when it comes to trees and shading and things like that. But overall, 1 out of every 9 single family homes on Long Island does have solar panels, which is exciting. And this is just kind of some overall stats of New York State and our region specifically. So on Long Island, there are over 83,000 solar projects installed so far. And this is as of last year. And you can see the trajectory of the growth and how popular and mainstream solar has become over time. And the reason for this mainly is because, especially here in New York, where we do have really high utility rates, solar is the same, it costs the same here as it costs, in another state, but it makes so much more sense here because you're avoiding much higher electric costs. So New York is one of the few states where going solar costs less than not going solar. So for many homeowners that are able to, it's a no-brainer. It's just a matter of when and how you do it and the right timing for your family. So when someone goes solar, there's a few different things that we look at. We want to look at how is their home for solar. So, here's a few different pictures. So you see one house has, no trees around, a nice southern facing roof, some nice open solar ready roofs that we like to call. And then you have another house that has a little bit more going on architecturally. You have some trees around, it's an east-west roof, so you need more solar panels to produce the same amount of energy for that home. So that also goes into the cost of a system as well. That's the number one question that we get. Well, how much does it cost? Well, it really depends on your home, your energy needs, and how good your home is for solar. Those two houses could be right next door to each other, and you have the same amount of energy needs, but one home might need more solar panels and it might be more difficult to install, so it might cost a little bit more. So this is all custom. Every single system that we look at is a custom design system, and we take that all into account. So let's first look at the do nothing option, right? So right now, the average homeowner has about $240 a month in their monthly PSEG bill. So a few $1,000s a year just to keep the lights on, their refrigerator running, and keep everything going in their home. So over 10 years, that's going to be $28,000 over, and you can see what it is over 20 years, over 30 years, and that would be assuming that rates don't increase. We all know that rates increase, they have to increase. PSEG has new and incurred costs every year, they pass it on. So you can imagine what this is over 30 years with the rate increases. It's well over $100,000 that you're going to be spending in your home in your lifetime to pay your electric bill. So alternatively, next slide, solar panels. You can go solar and avoid all those electric costs by purchasing, leasing, or financing a solar system. So again, the cost really depends on your unique situation, how much energy your home uses, whether it's $100 a month in electric bills or $500 a month in electric bills. But any way you do it, you're always going to be ahead. So you're going to be saving on your electric bill with solar. Sometimes you save more in the short term. Sometimes you save a little bit month to month. I think Neil, you said you were saving $150, but that amount's only going to grow every year as your avoided utility costs increase. So typically a lot of our clients see anywhere between $20,000 to $60,000 in savings over the life of their solar system, which is about 25 years. Next slide. So there's a lot of different incentives that you can qualify for when it comes to going solar. There's a NYSERDA rebate for New York City and low-income Long Island homes. There's NYSERDA storage rebates if you're adding a battery system to your solar system as well. There's a New York State tax credit, a federal tax credit. You're not going to pay sales tax on your solar products. Some areas do have a property tax abatement as well. Next slide. So sample of solar savings. So this is a typical homeowner, a little bit larger energy needs. Maybe it's a larger family. Their current bill is $315 a month with PSEG. We're going to put enough solar panels on the roof to completely eliminate their electric bill. Their new PSEG bill is about $12 to $20 a month, and their solar payment is going to be fixed at $187 a month. And this is probably, I would guess, a 20-year program. So they qualify for the federal and state tax credit, and you can see the long-term savings on the right there, which is, again, like I mentioned, over $100,000 in lifetime savings with their solar system. Most of the savings come at the end when your avoided utility costs go up and up and up at the end of the life of the system. Next slide. So just want to breeze through a few different things here. When you're looking into solar, obviously we represent, the solar companies across New York State. All of our companies are amazing companies. You want to make sure that you look at a few different things, safety being one of them. You want to make sure the company is licensed, insured, that they have practices to follow the best safety standards. Next slide. Aesthetics are very important. A lot of our customers will come to us and say, hey, I want to go solar, but I don't want my solar system to look like my neighbor's house. What can you do about it? So we want to make sure that we're taking into the architecture of your home into account, and providing the best looking system available. Mounting. So this is really important. Your home is your biggest asset. We want to make sure that we're protecting your roof, we're protecting your home from leaks and different things like that. So we've seen some crazy stuff out there in terms of attachments, from some companies. You want to make sure that you're using a really reliable product. So definitely something to ask about the products that they use and also the warranty. So what happens if something goes wrong and there is a roof leak, is that covered under your warranty? You want to make sure that it definitely is, and for at least 10 years. Conduits, this is another thing that, you know, kind of goes with aesthetics. You want to make sure that they're being neat when they're running the conduit down the house. This here is about protecting your system. So the number one call that we get in the service department at our company is from critter damage, whether it's raccoons, squirrels, pigeons. They really like to make nests under solar panels. So we want to make sure that the systems that we install are protected. They're keeping critters out. They're not chewing on live wires, creating exposed situations that could be dangerous for the home. So you want to make sure that your home is protected and your panels are protected. When a panel or a whole system is brought down from a critter, it's not usually covered under warranty. So this could be the biggest cost that a homeowner who goes solar might incur if they don't take the proper precautions up front. And these are not expensive, you know, to install, especially if you do it on install day. Next slide. So this is really exciting and new. We actually had a webinar yesterday just focused on LIPA time of day rates. So many of you may know this has been rolling out starting in January. If you're a new homeowner buying a new home, you'll be placed on a time of day rate instead of a standard flat rate. So it enables you to control and, you know, make your own bill. So if you want to reduce your bill, you can do simple things to make sure that your bill is as low as it can be. It's similar to peak, off-peak Long Island Railroad pricing. So you're going to pay a premium if you want to keep your air conditioner running at full blast from 3 to 7 p.m. But if you can, you know, use one of the technologies that Brian talked about earlier and maybe pre-cool your home before you get home from work so that your home is cool during the day, you're going to pay less in electricity rates. So the rate is going to be cheaper before 3 p.m. Also, you can program like your dishwasher or your electric vehicle or your pool pump or anything like that to run overnight, either on the off-peak or the super off-peak rate, where you're going to pay a fraction of the cost to keep those things running as you would if you did between 3 and 7 p.m. So this is a really great program, and it really complements solar well, and really helps to move us towards a more clean, renewable grid. Next slide. And then the last thing here is just more than solar. So obviously we install solar, but we also do battery backup systems as well. I'm sure Beth is going to talk about electric vehicle charging, so we won't go too much into that, but all of these technologies are complementary. We love to see them all working together to make your home as efficient as it can be. I'll skip this one. I'll leave this for Beth to talk about. And yeah, on behalf of us and our solar industry, just want to thank you all for listening to what we have to say today.
Great. Thank you so much, Tara. That was very interesting. I'm looking into getting solar myself, so some very good information there. So now I am going to hand it off to Beth, who's going to give us a short EV 101 session. So Beth, thank you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Beth Fateni with Drive Electric, Long Island. And next slide. We're a coalition of businesses and all sorts of organizations, including PSEG Long Island academic institutions, all working towards the same goal of promoting adoption of electric vehicles for the benefit of the environment and charging station infrastructure. Next slide. So in New York State, we actually have over 200,000 electric vehicles on the road right now. You can see from the blue and green chart, the blue is battery electric vehicles. Most of them are full battery, not just plug-in hybrid. And actually on Long Island, we just celebrated 50,000 EVs on the road, and it was in Newsday if you managed to see that. So we're about a quarter of the state's EVs. Next slide. These are the types of electric vehicles. You have hybrid vehicles that use gas and automatically convert the energy into electric, and you don't plug these in. Then you have plug-in hybrid electric vehicles that have a plug-in port, and they can accept a level 2 charge, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then you have full battery electric vehicles that have the largest battery of the three, and they're able to charge at DC fast charging stations. So there's no gas in a full BEV. Next slide. These are some examples of battery electric vehicles on the market. Mostly what I want you to notice is just that there are so many shapes and sizes now. It used to be just all sedans, but now there are crossovers and SUVs. The typical range of a full battery electric these days is between 250 and 300 miles. Some of them get more. And the price range is typically in the 30,000s or 40,000 range on average. And it's just important to note that the average commute in the United States is about 40 miles. So you can actually go several days without having to even plug in your your EV, doing the normal commute. Next slide. So these are examples of plug-in hybrids on the market. Similar price ranges on these. Usually, like we heard Neil say, a plug-in hybrid might get, let's say, 25 to 40 miles of range just on the electric, and then it'll switch over to gas. So they have benefits in the fact that the range might be 500 or even more, but you're also maintaining two power sources. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Next slide. So these are some considerations when you're buying an EV. They're very, very quiet. It's a very peaceful, smooth ride. They have very fast acceleration. You just press the accelerator and it just goes. There's no hesitation. It's required that manufacturers provide at least a minimum of an 8-year warranty on the battery, or 100,000 miles, whichever comes first. Many of them offer more. And it doesn't mean that your battery will die after 10 years. It just means that it will probably become less and less efficient, just slightly over time. So unless you have an accident, God forbid you don't, you wouldn't really have to replace it, because we get that question a lot. What does it cost to replace? Very unlikely. There's very low operating costs, and we'll talk about this more because there's not a lot of moving parts in an EV. You also have regenerative braking, which means that as you're slowing the vehicle down, it's actually capturing energy back and putting it into the battery. So they're very strong brakes, but it also protects them. So the brakes last a lot longer, which is a great benefit. And one thing that people should be aware of, though, is that if you're driving your EV in the winter, and let's say you buy the Ford F-150 and it's full of stuff and you're blasting the heat, you might see the vehicle using a little more energy, so it'll affect your range. But you see the range right in front of you, just like your gas gauge. So it's not like you're driving down the road and you say, oh, I don't have any electric left. You'll see, you can watch your batteries, how much percentage you have left. So you know when you need to plug in. Next. So the cost savings are pretty significant with EVs. The blue line is showing the cost of gas over the last 20 years or so. And you can see that it's pretty variable. October 22, we hit $4 a gallon. Over time with electric, the price of electric has been relatively stable. Like Tara said, maybe in New York, we're a little more expensive, but this is looking at the US as a whole. But in general, you can count on the cost to go the same distance to be about half. The cost of a mile per gallon equivalent is $1.50. And then, per gallon is, like we said, $3 or $4. So at least a half just to fuel the car. Next slide. And there's also savings here with the operations and maintenance. Because if you think about it, there's no oil you're putting in. So there's no oil changes, no fluids except windshield wiper fluid. Tires would be about the same. There's no muffler. Your brakes last a lot longer because of that regenerative braking. There is no transmission. There's no plugs and tuning. So all of that is work that you wouldn't have to do, which on average can save about $4,000 over the 10-year life of a vehicle. Next slide. So when it comes to the environment, this was something very important to me when I purchased my EV. This is showing a chart of where the sources of the electric come from in New York State. They're relatively clean, natural gas, nuclear, a lot of hydro we have here in New York State. So a car plugging in an EV in New York State in 1 year would give off about 2,000 pounds of CO2 equivalent. And that's, even pulling from the grid, whereas a gasoline car would give off over 12,000 pounds of CO2. So next slide. And that also includes even with the battery, because it's definitely true. You can see from this graph, the orange and gray are what it takes to make an EV. Because of the battery, there's a lot of, it is resource intensive, so it does take extra energy to make the EV. However, over the life of the vehicle, when you're burning fossil fuels, you can see the yellow bar on the left is showing that a regular, gasoline car gives off a lot more greenhouse gas emissions in its lifetime. So next slide. I know we're almost at the hour, so I'll go quickly. Level 1 is a regular 120 volt plug. Level 2 is a charger that you can buy from PSEG. This is what most people do. It'll give you 10 to 30 miles of range per hour. And then level 3 is the fastest. You can get 150 to 300 miles of range for each hour that it's plugged in. So this is what you might see on a highway where you plug in 15, 20 minutes, you can be back on your way. So next slide. This is the type of charger configurations in case you wanted to know what they look like. So that's pretty standard. The middle one, the CCS, is most common, and a lot of manufacturers are now switching over to Tesla configuration, and there's adapters that you can get because Tesla has quite a good infrastructure across the country. So next slide. This is just showing the growth of chargers. The main question that we get is, are there enough chargers? Well, the way we look at it is that there's 1 million homes on Long Island, so therefore there's 1 million chargers because you can just plug in at home. I very rarely even need to use a public charger. However, in New York State, as you can see there, there's over 8,000 that, and it continues to grow. Next slide. How do you find the chargers? The car itself has a screen that will show you where the closest charger is. And there's also apps you can get on your phone like PlugShare. And what you do is you become a member of the charger networks. There's, a few major ones like ChargePoint, Electrify America, EVgo, and it ties to your credit card, and you swipe the card on the charger and it unlocks and you can plug in. And some of them just take credit cards directly. They're getting more and more that way. Next slide. So this is important. People ask a lot about incentives. So right now there is a federal clean vehicle credit of up to $7,500 for new EVs. There's a few different limitations. It depends on where the battery is assembled because we're trying to assemble things here in the United States. There's also up to a $4,000 federal clean vehicle credit for used EVs. And then from New York State, additionally, you can get up to $2,000 of rebate for EVs with a range greater than 200 miles, which most of the full battery electrics do, and a little less for your plug-in hybrids. But note that it's capped at $500 for EVs with a retail value greater than $42,000. So you can use the HOV lane. Next slide. We are very lucky to have a $200 incentive from PSEG Long Island towards residential level 2 chargers. And that's also up to $300 for residences located in those disadvantaged communities that Brian mentioned earlier. So a little perk when you're buying your charger, which can cost maybe $600 or $700, and then you probably have to pay for an electrician to do the connection as well. Next slide. This one is about the time of use rates that Tara already explained. And again, very compatible with EVs, because if you can plug in at night and you can program your vehicle to charge at night, you'll pay maybe 12 cents per kilowatt hour versus the standard 20 cents per kilowatt hour. So it's a 40% discount. So very conducive towards plugging in at night and helping the grid and saving in your wallet as well. And that's it. That's my contact information. driveelectriclongisland.org. We have a lot of resources, so check our website and we're happy to answer questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Beth. That was very informative. I am an EV owner, so I love all this great information. So I know it is past 8 o'clock. If you have to leave, I understand. We're very sorry about the technical issues in the beginning, and that's why we're running a little bit long. But I hope you will stick around for our last speaker. We are recording this, so if you can't watch it now, it's going to be posted to the town's website and will also be emailed out to everyone that's registered for this workshop. So last but not least, we have Hilder, who's going to be speaking about the Long Island Clean Energy Hub and their Energy Advisor Program.
Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here, and you've received so much valuable information. I'll keep my contribution really brief. You'll be happy to know there's like 5 slides, and I won't even speak on them all. I'm myself itching to get to the Q&A part, so stay with us if you can. I am with the Long Island Regional Clean Energy Hub. We were launched by NYSERDA a couple of years ago, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. Just a little background, our goal is to help New York residents work towards achieving the mandates by the 2019 Climate Act, the New York's Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. Is ambitious and promises to reduce emissions by 40% below 1990 levels by 2030, and then to 85% below the 1990 levels by 2050. So these are ambitious goals, and it'll take all of us to get there. And in order to facilitate this, we have been tasked with outreach and education. And my goal here is to introduce the hub as a free resource. I know most people will celebrate that. We are here to offer free consultation. If any of what you've heard today was confusing or you need one-on-one assistance, I will drop the link in the chat here for everyone to see. So you can actually contact us personally, because everyone has their own personal interest area that needs addressing. So then we'll be there for you as a free resource. You can click on the link that I just dropped in there. And the energy hubs are, we're one of 12. So there's 12 hubs across the state. We work together, we work in unison to provide statewide coordination. We share resources and collaborate. We're within the LIPA territory here, the service territory on Long Island. So we partner with them and PSAG. We share information about their incentives, rebates, and assistance. And I would like to add, next slide, that the Climate Act mandates that no less than 35%, with a goal of at least 40% of our climate action benefits will go towards New York's disadvantaged communities. So we've been emphasizing outreach to all to ensure an equitable and fair process in this clean energy adaptation here on Long Island. We must clean up all the both the electricity, the sources, and our homes, decarbonize and electrify. We can go to the next slide. We just completed the regional analysis and barriers assessment to survey the energy situation on Long Island to better understand the needs and wants of residents. We've been reaching into diverse communities to understand the perceived and actual barriers to the clean energy transition. Change is hard, climate change is harder, but behavioral change is hard. So we're working on understanding the human psychology as well as the human potential that's of interest here. So we're interested in hearing from you. We want to learn from people what's preventing people from taking advantage of these clean energy opportunities that are already provided. And there are both federal and state support is available to you, so we can actually connect you with what you need. And while making your home more energy efficient, as you heard, then there's that initial investment, but by cleaning up your energy sources, you have that long-term benefit. And I'm already feeling it because we've been happily receiving, we leased solar panels, and very happily so for about a decade now. Weatherization too saves on energy bills. So in any which way you reduce your reliance on fossil fuels, you will stabilize your energy cost. We have all experienced how fossil fuels are subject to the geopolitical stressors and fluctuation in price. So that's my take-home message, is reach out to us. I'll stop here. Personally, I moved from gas to induction stove, and by unhooking from natural gas, you're actually unhooking from methane, and methane in your home leads to pollution. So when you're unhooking from gas, you're actually reducing both indoor and outdoor pollution. Inside the home, it lowers the risk of asthma and respiratory illnesses, and reducing emissions will, of course, help curb the escalating climate crisis, and that's why we're here. So I'm really happy to hear from the audience. If you're interested in learning more, let's go to the last slide. We have, well, these are our partners. Let's go to the very last one. I'll skip this one. In the interest of time, you can take down my information here. We have an energy advisor hotline. You can find us, you can email me directly, or you can reach out to the hotline if you're in need of any specific or personal support in the transition. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
So that is the
Okay.
conclusion of our presentations this evening. Before we get to the Q&A, I just want to thank our amazing presenters for all of the time and information they provided. I hope everybody got a lot out of it. I even learned some things. And I also want to thank all of you for joining us. We really appreciate you supporting these great programs. So one thing I will mention, I don't know why that's moving without me moving it, is that the town has created an energy savings webpage. And that's the website that's on the screen right now. It has a multitude of information about a lot of these different programs that were discussed tonight. So it's kind of a resource hub, as well as the information that Hilda provided. So please take advantage of that to kind of find all the information in one place. And also, if you have any specific questions after the Q&A that maybe are more personal and you need a longer answer to, feel free to contact the speakers directly. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if I can, I will pass it over to Mindy, who's going to moderate our Q&A. Thanks, Mindy.
You're very welcome. It's so wonderful to be here, and I thank all our speakers as well. I'm going to get right into it. Some of the questions are, this presentation was really designed to be community oriented, but there was a question to PSEG, and that is if you work with schools or nonprofits.
Hi. Yes. Thank you. I saw that question. Yes, we do. Just as I manage the residential portfolio, there is I have a counterpart with a team that provides rebates to commercial as well as municipal universities, schools, hospitals, and religious centers as well. So yes, we certainly are able to extend rebates to that type those kind of customers. Sure.
Thank you. And another question for you about how can families reduce cost of their refrigerator and freezer?
Right. That's tough. Well, again, sometimes you have to spend money to save money, as they say. Right? So what I would recommend is, if you're currently in market for a new, for a replacement refrigerator, that you want to make sure it's Energy Star, right? Number one, you want to make sure it's Energy Star. There's a few levels of Energy Star. So there's also something called most efficient, right? It's going to be a little more expensive, but again, the cost of it over the lifetime will pay for that and then some. So that's what I would recommend, right? If it's a if you're going to purchase a new one, if you currently have one, like like we all do, then I would certainly say you want to make sure that it's serviced, plenty of air free air around it. You want to make sure that the coils and the back of the unit is clean. The bottom of the unit is clean from spider webs or dust or anything that may have collected there. You want to make sure that the unit's clean, and you want to make sure that it's not stuffed. If your freezer is stuffed, believe it or not, it doesn't work as well as when there's a little bit of room between things, when there's a little bit of breathing room, I guess, inside. It's more efficient that way. So I think if you take some of these practices into play, it will help. It will help.
Excellent. And I also want to thank our speakers because they've been diligently answering questions, typing them in. So you can also see those answers and links. So thank you very much. I see Beth has been typing away and Brian as well. I think we're getting there. I mean, there is a question about wind. It seems that there's a lot of information out there. And just the question of, is PSEG involved in wind education at any level?
Are they involved in wind education? Well, I mean, am I personally? No. Or any of the programs that I manage or responsible for? No. But certainly, I mean, there is an effort right out in the Long Island Sound or out in the water. And I know it's being explored and worked on and implemented. I wish I had more details, my friends. I really don't.
That's okay. That's okay. I think that is pretty much it. I think everyone has answered most of the questions, so I appreciate that.
Right. All right.
Great. Thank you so much, Mindy. Thanks everyone again for taking time out of your evening to learn some great information. I hope
Sure.
this helps everyone advance their clean energy and energy efficiency journeys. And we will be sending out, like I said, the recording of this. So if you missed anything or want to go back and watch it again because there was so much great information, feel free to do so. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Megan. Take care, gang.
Thank you.